Happy holidays and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga, bringing you up to speed with the big happenings in our polity and in politics. Let's begin with the headlines. Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, downplays rift between him and the president, says no cause for alarm, describing the president as his leader and father. Senator representing Borno South says governors endorsing the president for a second term is no guarantee for re-election, citing the Jonathan experience. Thanks again for joining us on the program where we bring you up to speed at midday with the happenings in the polity and in politics. And today we're going to talk politics. But let's begin with what has been playing out in the country home or the residence of the president here in Lagos, where politicians, traditional rulers and businessmen has been paying a visit on what they call Salah homage visit to the president since he arrived in Lagos. And one of those who went there to visit him is the Ooni of Ife, as well as several other persons at this particular residence of the president of Nigeria in Lagos State. After the conversation, private conversation, I should say, with the president, the Ooni actually talked about his assessment of the president's performance. One of those who also visited the president is the Minister of Budget, Mr. Bagudu Atiku, who also gave remarks about his thoughts on the performance of the economy. Let's take a listen to both of them.
Arriving at the private residence of President,
I'm here. Greet him for Salah break and also to appreciate all the great things he's doing for their country. One area that Mr. President is addressing now, and I discussed with him too, is area of security. So he's on top. Let's keep praying for him. Let's keep praying for him and all our leaders. It's about time for all of us in Nigeria to come together and look at Nigeria as cup half full, other than cup half empty.
With what we are doing with the federal government, the additional revenue we are putting it to infrastructure use, we are putting it to consumer credit, we are putting it to agriculture, we are putting it to additional money in security, we are putting it to additional money in human capital development. These steps have turned the economy in the right direction, where we are even seeing, because of that resurgence of confidence in the economy, private capital is coming in.
Well, that was not all the visits that happened. One of the major that got a lot of people talking is the GAC, the Governor's Advisory Council, a structure, a non-state actor structure in Lagos that plays a key role in deciding what happens with the governance system in Lagos. GAC meeting with the president in company of the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, where there has been rumor about the rift between him and the president. Well, the governor has come out to say there's no such thing.
Mr. President, to meet with his brothers, leaders of our party, the Governor's Advisory Council, GAC of Lagos State, is it's something that they're always looking forward to, almost at every festive season or every time it comes around. And this is no exception. We all came around to felicitate with him, to pray with him, to wish him well, to say to him that Lagosians and everyone is happy with him, that we can feel, we can see the impacts of what he has done in the last 2 years. There are people that believe that they are more Catholic than the Pope. You know, there are things that you see people, they cry more than they bereave. You know, father and son, are things that we always ensure that, we're clear. There's nothing at all. My father is my leader, and we're grateful that he has given us the audience today to come in and say hello to him.
So that's the governor of Lagos State talking about there's no cause for alarm. Maybe people are blowing things out of proportion. But it is politics. There's a lot of talk. But let's head from Lagos to Anambra State, where For many years, Abga has held sway, but it feels like the APC and the PDP are trying to readjust their books to see what they can do to cause an upset in this election. Can they? Will they? Well, these are some of the thoughts of the leaders of that party in the state on how they are trying to strategize ahead of November 2025.
For return of our aggrieved members. The committee extends an open invitation to all aggrieved and former members of the People's Democratic Party in Anambra State, particularly our revered former governor, His Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi, to return home and reunite with the now rejuvenated and restructured PDP. We re-emphasize that alliances with ideologically incompatible political formations in the guise of coalition are unlikely to yield meaningful progress. We would gladly welcome our brothers and sisters back to join us in the collective quest for a better Nigeria.
When you have a consortium of support groups, they are part of the political party. They are members of APC. So by that strength, APC has very strong grassroots appeal in Anambra State. And that grassroots appeal is what we are banking on going into the election. The APC of today is no longer the APC of old, where people were given the wrong impression that there was nothing called APC in Anambra State. Today, in 2025, today, courtesy of Prince Dr. Nicholas Okachukwu, the flag bearer of APC Anambra State for the Anambra State governorship election.
All right, so let's tell you something that played out yesterday, a conversation on our sister program where my colleague Sean Kimbole had an interview with the senator representing Borno South, Senator Alin Dume. If you know Alin Dume, he speaks his mind, no matter who's ox is God. And he talked about perhaps not too comfortable with the endorsement of the president for re-election, citing the Jonathan experience as part of his premise and given the situation in the country. But I would like you to take a listen to him in case you didn't catch up with our conversation.
I was there for a summit. And when I realized that it was not a summit, and the voice vote was put about the endorsement of Mr. President, I just left. And that does not mean I'm not an APC member. Because Jonathan had 22 governors then endorsing him like we did now. And what happened? Jonathan lost woefully. And even that time, what happened? A lot of money was spent, over 2 billion or whatever. And then even the election was sifted. But we are not learning our lesson. And I pity Mr. President for this kind of a thing. Even though he came out one time that this is not time for campaign, we should not be campaigning. But you have already seen the problem now. You go out there and say you are endorsing Mr. President. And when the rumors came out that, oh, the National Assembly members also and this thing are going to be given automatic ticket, the party came out to say, we are not giving them automatic ticket. So who is going to be the foot soldier?
Well, that's a very strong political question. Who is going to be the foot soldier? If the president can get an endorsement for re-election, why can't we as well? That's why I want to talk about the big politics of 2027. But our focus will be what's playing out in Akwa Ibom State. We'll piggyback on that to talk about what's playing out at the national level. Joining us on the program is a former chairman of the People's Democratic Party when Senator Godswill Akpabio was the governor of the state, but is now a chieftain of the APC, architect Otuita Toyo, joins us from Uyodi, Akwa Ibom State capital. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the program and good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see you too.
All right, maybe let's just begin with, I don't know whether you were able to pick a thing or two or what Senator Ndume had mentioned about the endorsement of President Bola Tinubu for a second term. He's received commendation and flags as far as that endorsement. Some say it's too early. The gains of the reforms as touted by the presidency has not yielded the required fruit to trickle down in terms of the compounding effect. So what's the essence of the rush? Some are saying it's fear of the opposition. There are so many conjecture as to why this is playing out. Well, Ndume has come out to say this is not the first time a president is being endorsed. 22 governors endorsed Goodluck Jonathan, and we know how that ended. What do you make of it?
I think Senator Ndume is, like you said, a man who speaks his mind. And it is not through anybody's fault at this moment that the Nigerian political environment is it's a bit unstable. It is not wrong for people to campaign. If the president says we should not campaign for him and it is not yet time to campaign, I believe it is the duty of the party to bring everybody into line. What I see is that the party itself is a bit lenient on people who are exuberant. So I think if it's not time for campaign and the president clearly said so, we should tarry a bit. Ndume is right in that count.
All right, let's move on to what is playing out in Akwa Ibom State. I'm sure the biggest beneficiaries, which is yourself and every member of the APC, right now is excited that without an election, a jinx, let me not use the word jinx, that would be an extreme word. What has not happened in 26 years has happened just in a flash by a governor defecting. The PDP has held sway since 1999 from Obong Victor Atta to Chief Godswill Akpabio, now Senate President, to Emmanuel Udom, and now Pastor Omoyeno. And he has 2 years into his administration, he decided to jump ship into the APC. What do you make of this movement, and how do you characterize this moment? Because there has been that back and forth as to whether this is a right move or whether this is a gamble, because we know at least the former governor has not joined him. Iniyeme Mobong, his former commissioner, now former commissioner, has resigned from cabinet. Enough of you say is going to work with him on a bipartisan basis. We understand as well that the PDP ESCO, they are staying put, they are not going anywhere. What do you make of this?
Well, I think democracy is playing out. Everybody has a guarantee of the Constitution to hold an opinion. So they've made up their minds with. But more importantly is the question of whether the APC is the beneficiary of this move. As a party, yes, but more importantly, the people of Akwa Ibom State have clearly shown, if you read the barometer of the polity in Akwa Ibom State, it is quite a popular move.
So in your view, because it's the political class we see in that hall, we saw the governors on the platform of the APC all converging in that hall, and a couple of other persons as well from the states, I think House of Assembly members, if I can remember the videos I saw. Do you think that the generality of the people of Akwa Ibom are comfortable with the movement of the governor? And my question is to the effect is this more strategic or is it a gamble? I know you're a politician and you know how this game plays out.
I don't see any gamble there. Governor Moino has given reasons why he has moved. And these are very cogent reasons. He says he does not want to, in fact, gamble the position of governorship of the state on a party which is unstable, sadly, because I'm a great lover of the PDP. And he says, look, supposing the wrong man signs his form, for instance, and then INEC, you remember INEC? I hope you do. And they come out and say that's the wrong man to sign the form. And that's the end of that endeavor. And that's one of the very strong reasons. He has other reasons. He says he supports the president. And he thinks it is a bit inelegant to support the president and remain in a party outside the president's party. I think that's the action of an honorable person. And as it concerns the state, Akwa Ibom polity, historically, right from the times of the core states, had been a polity of unity, a polity of inclusiveness. And Governor Minor came in at a time when those attributes were fading, they were waning.
Oh dear. I hope that the network will allow us to have this conversation. Can you hear me, sir?
I hear you clearly.
Okay, all right. I thought we're having network issues. Now, there's something I want you to clarify as to what, as a politician, you think is playing out here. Do you think that the governor is trying to control two political parties? Because we understand that the ESCO of the PDP hasn't left. That arouses curiosity as to why the ESCO that holds the machinery of the structure, in that sense, that brought him to power, choose to stay back and run the PDP while he joins the APC. Is Governor Eno trying to play a fast one on the polity?
I will take that question from my background as a party administrator. A party does not, in fact, if the party moves ship, that's the party executive. If they jump ship, the party is finished. I don't think the PDP is finished. I think they still have a chance to redeem themselves. In fact, this whole defection thing can be put on the PDP directly. It is the PDP that started this defection deal in this republic. And so they are probably, if you would like, reaping from their own karma. But having said that, if the ESCO of the PDP decides to remain behind, I think that's a noble movement. A captain does not abandon ship just because it is sinking.
Architect, is this a noble movement or there is deep-seated politics playing out here? I'll give you an example. What played out with the Buharis sheriff, the governor of Delta State. They literally, everybody moved. So there is no fence sitting, there is no looking back, there is nothing. We move with, because the idea is that it arouses curiosity and even suspicion that there were wide consultation to the extent that Sam Senekong and I think Aniakan Basi, who are senators, have now joined the APC. Literally all the members of the House of Reps, to the best of my knowledge, or some of them have joined the APC. Yeah. Literally all the members of the Assembly have joined the APC, and not a single executive of the PDP in the state joined the APC. Doesn't that arouse suspicion in your view?
No, it does not. I was once in charge of the party PDP. And when I was chairman, nobody would move ship in my executive. So I am suspecting that the current chairman is that dedicated to the extent that he has convinced his people that just stay behind. We'll make something out of this. Whether they'll succeed or not is a different kettle of fish.
So are we going to be...
You know that...
No, land on your thought, land on your thought, please. I didn't know you were done. You're not done.
Yeah. You know, the Nigerian polity is full of suspicion. There is always ambush tactics and all that, which incidentally plays out all over the world, but the Nigerian variety is a bit vicious. So I think people are right in imputing or wondering whether there's a hidden agenda. And there may well be a hidden agenda, but that's not what concerns us here. What concerns us is that a party could not keep itself. I don't think Governor Moino would have begun to talk about moving if the PDP had put its own house in order. The crisis in the PDP is almost intractable. So that began the process of movement.
I think everybody is clear on the state of the PDP, and is worrying because at every point in time, for those of us who are journalists, we would like to always have viable opposition. There should not be a dominance of any, whether it's the APC or the PDP. It makes democracy as robust as possible so that nobody sits pretty and too confident, so that you know that if you don't do well, the next party can just unseat you in that sense. And saying on that particular question of what is playing out in the PDP. Do you think they are going to give? I even forgot to add that I don't know whether it's all, but a couple of local government chairmen I saw also defected. So National Assembly, House of Assembly, local government chairmen, members of the State Executive Council, apart from Inida, resigned. To the best of my knowledge, literally everybody has gone. So I'm wondering who is going to be, what is the PDP in that state not adjudicate now? So pretending over. So do you think they are going to give Governor Nor a formidable opposition, or everything is just going to be cosmetic? I know you are an opposition, you're in the ruling party now, but I'm using your benefit of hindsight as a former chairman of the PDP.
Actually, that's where I'm coming from. The PDP was such a formidable party that I turned my back and I look back and it's in tatters. I'm completely dumbfounded and sad. It was the biggest political movement in Africa. It was even more bigger than the ANC. And in 16 short years, they shot themselves in the foot. So this thing called politics needs a certain level of seriousness and engagement. So, and I believe deep inside me that the PDP will not die. They're going to re-emerge, because the people who made up the PDP, to the best of my knowledge, except they've all moved on. They're rebuilt. So I don't think that and if they will give Governor Moino a run for his money, I certainly hope they will, because there must be, as you indicated, a good opposition party to keep the government on her toes. While we are in government, that's fine. But for the good of the people, there ought to be a strong opposition government. And I am hoping that my former party, the PDP, would rise up and live out the sort of energy they used to have when we were there.
All right, as we're going to wind down, some will say, what will be the greatest, because politicians always tout the issue of in the interest of our people, which a lot of people doubt is in the interest. Most of the time is their personal interest, and there's nothing wrong with personal interest for the record, but blanketing it on the people is a bit funny sometimes. So what will be the measure of the gains of this defection? How do we, let's say he wins re-election and he makes it to 2031 for a full 2-year term. What will be the greatest marker to say, for Akwa Ibom who did not see what I did, this is why I did it? And one of the markers that was seen, that is being looked at, is the Ibom Deep Sea Port. But a video is circulating right now in Akwa Ibom where, during the campaign somewhere, I think in Eket, where the governor was, I think, it's indirectly throwing a shade at, I don't know whether it's Senator Akpabio then, about the issue of houseboy. No, we're not going to be under the purview of anybody. And he talked about the presidential candidate of the APC, who is now President Bola Tinubu, said Bola Tinubu is not going to leave Lekki Deep Sea Port or Badagry to come and develop Ibom Deep Sea Port. Is never going to happen. So if that is a measure to say, maybe if we were aligned, they will expedite action on the Deep Sea Port, and he said what he said, what do we make of his position now?
Let me take us a bit. The Ibom Deep Sea Port came on stream under Governor Atta. That was the PDP government. There was a PDP government at the center, a PDP government in Akwa Ibom. There was a PDP government at the center and a PDP government in Akwa Ibom after Governor Atta. That was Governor Gospel Akpabio. After that, there was a PDP government at the center, a PDP government. No, okay, there was now an APC government. But the point I'm trying to make is that that port has is of exceeding importance to the economy of the West African sub-region. It is the only deep sea port, natural deep sea port in the West African sub-region. And it is in the interest of the country to build it. And Governor Tinubu has shown, the President Tinubu has shown that he is interested in the blue economy. He is interested in building up Nigeria's main economy, and a deep sea port at the cost of the Gulf of West Africa would be an exceedingly intelligent investment. I am sure he himself, being a businessman, he knows the importance of such an event. So we are not going to hold Governor Tinubu to the fact that he must build a deep sea port. Of course he will. Our job is to remind him that this deep sea port is an important institution for the country. It is not, well, I'm sure amongst his list of priorities, there must be a deep sea port, and that is where to go.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Architect, because the governors and politicians always say align with the center. So let's see what this alignment can do, whether it will bring this to fruition. But in closing, so who now leads the party in the state? The Senate President, number 3 man in the country, apparently holds the structure of the APC. Now, the governor has come. I don't know what the APC law says, but in the PDP, usually when you become governor, you take over the structure of the party. I want to believe it's the same with the APC. Because we have an issue on our hand in River State. We have a boiling issue in Benue State over who controls and who is a leader. Who leads Akwa Ibom PDP right now? Akwa Ibom APC, my apologies, my Akwa Ibom APC.
Those boiling issues, to my mind, are almost infantile. Who leads the party shouldn't concern 50-year-olds to the extent that they tear down a party. It is quite clear that the man with the larger, the more significant political muscle leads the party. I mean, even if it is not constitutionally so, it is almost an intelligent decision for it to be that way so that the party moves forward and then there's synergy between both. At this time, the Senate President is the leader of the APC because he is the man with the highest political office within the APC. Closely following on that position is the governor. Now the APC has a governor. I believe that between him and the Senate President, there will be a mechanism that filters down to the grassroots.
Okay.
Problem with the Nigerian polity is that the ordinary people are usually left in the position of cheerleaders rather than, in fact, beneficiaries. Now you have a Senate President and a governor. I hope that the ordinary people will now have a lot of benefit from that.
We must thank you so much, sir. We'll be looking out to see how this play out in the coming days. We must thank you, Architect Otuita Toyo, a former PDP chairman and a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.